Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd do something a little different today. I moved up to I have a little reading room upstairs in my house. The kids are all home today, and I thought it might be a quiet spot because I can close the door to look at some of the books up here. I'm going to pan around real quick. I'll try to do it without making anybody dizzy to give you an idea of what bookshelves I'm going to be looking at first. And here you go. So I'm going to start with a little bit of Clive Cussler. So let's start the Cussler novels with Treasure. I always try to show the back with a Cussler novel. Usually get those great pictures of him with his antique cars. A lot of times they'll feature in the stories. So Treasure, Dirk Pitt, seeks against all odds the treasure that is the Great Library and Museum in Alexandria. So that's good for book lovers there, huh? This novel was one of his earlier ones. Let's see, it was published in 1988. So he had, say, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So this was probably his 10th novel. So, Treasure. I'm not doing these in any order. I'm doing them in the order stuck on my shelf. I couldn't possibly have shelf space for all the Cusslers out now. There's a couple series, and a lot of them now are being written with co-writers. Not that I have a problem with that. They're quick, good entertainment. I've enjoyed them for years. So this one is another Dirk Pitt novel, Trojan Odyssey. It looks like this one, and I don't remember it as such, is follows up Valhalla Rising, where Dirk Pitt had found out he had 2 grown children. He was a little shocked about that. This starts off the coast of Nicaragua. So let's see, when was this published? This was published in, I think I could find that easy enough. I'm looking right at it, probably. And that's something. Printed in the United States of America. I'm sure there's a date. Oh, 2003. Sorry. Looking right at it. So I'll move on from there. Now this is one where Cussler has written the novel with another writer. In this case, Paul Capricos. This is MEDUSA. Not a big fan of the cover. There's Cussler on the back. It's not a car. Was it a car on the back of... Oh my goodness, I should have shown them. Let's step back a minute. The one on the back of Trojan Odyssey is a beauty. Look at that. How do you like that color? Pepto-Bismol. Okay, back to MEDUSA. Written with Paul Capricos. In the Micronesian Islands, a top-secret U.S. government-sponsored undersea lab conducting vital biomedical research on a rare jellyfish known as the blue medusa suddenly disappears. At the same time, off Bermuda, a bathysphere is attacked by an underwater vehicle and left helpless a half-mile below the surface. His co-author on this, Paul Capricos, it says here, has co-authored all 7 previous Pneumophile novels. So these are different than the Dirk Pitt novels. With Cussler, and is a Shamus Award-winning author of 6 underwater detective thrillers, a certified scuba diver, and a former newspaper reporter who lives in Massachusetts. So, you know, it does help to know about diving with Cussler. Let's see what else we got here. This one's written with Grant Blackwood. It's called The Kingdom, and I actually really like this cover. Let's see. And this again is a picture of the ageless Mr. Cussler. It's a Fargo adventure. And I like the Fargo adventures. I'm not as big on some of the series as I am on others. I mean, I'll read any of them. The Fargos are used to hunting for treasure, not people. But then a Texas oil baron contacts them with a personal plea. An investigator friend of the Fargos was on a mission to find the oil baron's missing father, and now the investigator is missing too. So, let's see who Mr. Blackwood is, the co-author. A U.S. Navy veteran, spent 3 years aboard a guided missile frigate as an operations specialist and pilot rescue swimmer. That's impressive. So let's move on here. Now with Black Wind, we're back to a Dirk Pitt novel, the original series. And this one's written with Clive Cussler's son, Dirk Cussler. Dirk Pitt, the character. And this is Clive and Dirk Cussler with Dirk Pitt's 58 Chrysler 300D convertible. Look at that car. Where's the price tag from? I can't tell. It's always fun to look now with so many bookstores going out. Alright, let's see. In the waning days of World War II, unbeknownst to all but a handful of people, the Japanese tried a last desperate measure. 2 submarines were sent to the west coast of the United States. Their cargo, a revolutionary new strain of biological virus. Their mission? To unleash hell. So, let's see what they say about Dirk Cussler, Clive Cussler's son. Has an MBA from Berkeley, worked for many years in the financial arena, and now devotes himself full-time to writing. For the last several years, he has been an active participant and partner in his father's NUMA expeditions and served as president of the NUMA Advisory Board of Trustees. He lives in Arizona. Now, NUMA is a fictional organization that Dirk Pitt worked for, the National Underwater Marine Agency, or something along those lines. All right, let's go to the next one. This is another series. Unfortunately, not a car picture, but this is Clive Cussler with Jack DeBrule. It's a novel of the Oregon Files, Corsair. Jack DeBrule is the author of the Philip Mercer series, most recently Havoc, and is co-author with Clive Cussler of the Oregon Files novels, Dark Watch, Skeleton Coast, and Plague Ship. He lives in Vermont. That's a good place to live. All right. Corsairs are pirates, and pirates come in many varieties. There are the pirates who fought in the sea off the Barbary Coast in the late 18th and early 19th century, the contemporary pirates who infest the waters of Africa and Asia, and the pirates who look like something else. And this one was published when? 2009. We get Fire Ice. Clive Cussler with Paul Capricos again. Another Kurt Austin adventure. A novel from the Numa Files. Let's see. In Serpent and Blue Gold, Cussler introduced a hero for a new millennium in Kurt Austin, leader of Numa's Special Assignments team. In previous encounters, Austin and his colleague Joe Zavala have battled eco-extortionists and mad empire builders, but they have never faced a menace like the one before them now. In the heart of the old Soviet Union, a mining tycoon has proclaimed himself Tsar of Russia. Claiming Romanov ancestry and backed by billions of dollars, he's determined to overthrow the already shaky Russian government, and U.S. opposition doesn't bother him one bit. So this one was published in, let's see, 2002. And with Mr. Capricos again, we have Lost City. And an enzyme that will dramatically prolong life has been discovered 2,000 feet below, 2,000 feet down, in the North Atlantic, in an area known as Lost City. But why are the people attempting to harvest it getting killed? Why are the scientists in a remote Greek laboratory disappearing one by one? What does all this have to do with a body found frozen in the ice high up in the Alps? And this one was published in 2004. Then we go back to Mr. De Brule and Clive Cussler in another Oregon Files novel, Silent Sea. We've seen that picture before. On December 7th, 1941, 5 brothers exploring a shaft on a small island off the coast of Washington State make an exciting discovery, only to be interrupted by the news of Pearl Harbor. In the present, Cabrillo, chasing the remnants of a crashed satellite in the Argentine jungle, makes a shocking discovery of his own. Move on. And another Jack De Brule in a novel of the Oregon Files, Plague Ship. The crew has just completed a top-secret mission against Iran in the Persian Gulf when they come across a cruise ship adrift at sea. Hundreds of bodies litter its deck, and as Cabrillo tries to determine what happened, explosions rack the length of the ship. And this one, let's see when this one came out. This was published in 2008. And here's another one with Clive Cussler and his son Dirk Cussler, Crescent Dawn. Another card there, that's pretty sweet. I can't read what model the vehicle is because for some reason there's a blacked out security tag or something on there. I don't know what it is. Oh, map end papers are nice. I always like that. In AD 327, a Roman galley with an extraordinary cargo barely escapes a pirate attack. In 1916, a British warship mysteriously explodes in the middle of the North Sea. In the present day, a cluster of important mosques in Turkey and Egypt are racked by explosions. And this one came out in 2010. Here's another new co-writer. Did I already mention him? Well, anyway, we'll read it again. The Storm. I've seen that picture already. In the middle of the Indian Ocean, a Numa research vessel is taking water samples at sunset when a member of the crew spots a sheen of black oil ahead of them. But it's not oil. Like a horde of army ants, a swarm of black particles suddenly attacks the ship, killing everybody aboard while the ship itself goes up in flames. A few hours later, Kurt Austin, Joseph Vela, and other members of the Numa Special Assignment Teams are on their way to the Indian Ocean. The co-writer on this, Graham Brown, is the author of Black Rain and Black Sun and a co-author of Cussler of Devil's Gate. A pilot and an attorney, he lives in Arizona. Let's see when this one was published. 2012. So I'll go grab another stack here. Okay, continuing with another stack of the Cussler novels. Here's an older one, Deep Six. Clive Cussler with Dirk Pitt's car. Now this is a picture of Cussler we have not seen yet. Look at that. Wow, that's great. So this one, let's get a publishing date. It's 1984, pretty early. Let's see how many other of these have been published. He's already by then had published 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, this was the 7th. Excuse me. Dirk Pitt is the main character in this. He hadn't had any of the other series started when this one was up. Is pitted, a bit of a pun there, against the sinister and monstrous plan of a great Asian shipping family, only to find that behind it is an even deeper and more dangerous Soviet plot to turn the President of the United States to their own designs by means of mind control. Something about this plot. Deep Six. Now here's a copy I love. It's a good story. It's a good story, but I love it for another reason. You'll notice it looks a little different. The Grand Master of Adventure, Clive Cussler and Dirk Cussler, who we've already met. Treasure of Khan, a Dirk Pitt novel. Look at that cover. Get a little closer, maybe. You've seen that picture. This is Penguin, Michael Joseph, for the publisher. Has an end map. You notice down here is UK price, because this is a UK edition. I don't know what it is about UK editions with action adventure novels, but I almost always prefer their covers. In a while you'll see I have some Tom Clancy covers of theirs, and some of the British thriller writers also. So this is Treasure of Khan. When Dirk Pitt is nearly killed rescuing an oil survey team from a freak wave on Russia's Lake Baikal, it appears a simple act of nature. When the survey team is abducted and Pitt's research vessel nearly sunk, however, it's obvious there's something more sinister involved. All trails lead to Mongolia. This is another Clive and Dirk Cussler, Arctic Drift. This car is Clive Cussler and Dirk Cussler with Pitt's 1932 Auburn V12. Now that's a car. Look at that. End papers. The Arctic. A potential breakthrough discovery to reverse global warming, a series of unexplained sudden deaths in British Columbia, a rash of international incidents between the United States and one of its closest allies that threatens to erupt into an actual shooting war, he's the director now, Dirk Pitt and his children, Dirk Jr. and Summer, have reason to believe there's a connection somewhere, but they also know they have very little time to find it. Okay, yeah. Here's another one with Grant Blackwood, and there's another Fargo adventure. Spartan Gold. This was a good one. Same picture we've seen many times. Thousands of years ago, two superpowers of the ancient world went to war, and a treasure of immeasurable value was lost to the shadows of history. In 1800, while crossing the Pennine Alps with his Grand Reserve Army, Napoleon Bonaparte stumbled across a startling discovery. Unable to transport it, he created an enigmatic map on the label of 12 bottles of rare wine. When Napoleon died, the bottles disappeared, and the treasure was lost again. Until now. And then we have a Clive Cussler and Justin Scott, The Race. This is an Isaac Bell adventure, and the Isaac Bell ones, which are newer, are probably my favorite. This is a great cover. Look at that plane. Samuel Fisher. Let me see here. I'd actually agree with this part. Critics and fans alike love, I don't know about critics, but fans, love Clive Cussler's new Isaac Bell novels. Bell is a superb action hero who moves elegantly and lethally through the period. There's plenty of action to be had, with many thrills and much diabolical cleverness along the way. So Bell works for a detective agency, and it's the turn of the century, and there's a lot of early technology, or technology's since been, well, it's been transfigured quite a bit. So it's 1910, the age of the flying machine is still in its infancy, and newspaper publisher Preston Whiteway is offering $50,000 for the first daring aviator to cross America in less than 50 days. He is even sponsoring one of the prime candidates, an intrepid aviatrix named Josephine Frost. And that's where Bell, chief investigator for the Van Dorn Detective Agency, comes in. That's the end papers, the flying machines. Yeah, this series is really one of my favorite. Well, it's my favorite Cussler series. I mean, I like the old Dirk Pitts. The other ones are good. The Fargo ones I would also put up there. But Clive Cussler, Dirk Pitt novel, Ink of Gold. Clive Cussler with Dirk Pitt's 1936 Pierce Arrow and Travelodge trailer. Look at the trailer. Look at that. Okay. Ink of Gold begins in 1532 when a fleet of ships sails in secret to an island in the middle of an inland sea. There they hide a magnificent treasure more vast than that of any pharaoh. Then they disappear, leaving only a great stone demon to guard their hoard. In 1578, the legendary Sir Francis Drake captures a Spanish galleon filled with ink of gold and silver and the key to the lost treasure, which included a gigantic chain of gold that belonged to the last Inca king, a masterpiece of ancient technology so huge that it requires 200 men to lift it. That was published in 1994. Let's see. And that was a list of books up to that time. Of course, there's a lot more of them now. Clive Cussler with Paul Compricos again. A Kurt Austin adventure, White Death. Love that shirt. Mr. Cussler. Here, let's see. A shadowy multinational corporation is attempting to wrest control of the very seas themselves, no matter what havoc results, and is killing anyone who attempts to stop it. When Austin's boat blows up and he only barely survives, it seems certain he was supposed to be the next in line to die. But he cannot stop now, for the environmental disaster has already begun, and only he and Numa stand in the way. And this one was published in 2003. These are all, except for the British one, published by Putnam. Probably should have mentioned that. G.P. Putnam and Sons in New York. It's Clive Cussler, Atlantis Found, a Dirk Pitt novel, published by Putnam. Clive Cussler with Dirk Pitt's 1936 Ford Hot Rod. I can't tell what bookstore that came from. I'll do it, I don't know why. It was, again, I said in Putnam, trying to make up for lost time, mentioned in Putnam, the publisher. This is 1999, Let's see. September 1858, an Arctic whaler stumbles on an aged wreck. Its grisly frozen crew guarding crates of odd antiquities and a skull carved from black obsidian. March 2001, a team of anthropologists gazes in awe at a wall of strange inscriptions, moments before a blast seals them deep within the Colorado rock. I'll leave it at that. I won't spoil it for you. Clive Cussler, Flood Tide. Another Dirk Pitt novel. I actually like the cover. A little different. Clive Cussler with Dirk Pitt's 1929 model, I think it's J. Duesenberg. The white walls on those tires. Okay. The coin of the realm for the wealthy, insatiably greedy Chinese smuggler who is Dirk Pitt's adversary in Flood Tide is human lives. Much of his vast fortune has been made smuggling Chinese immigrants into countries around the globe, including the United States. Tracking the smuggler's nefarious activities leads Pitt from Washington State to Louisiana, where his quarry is mysteriously constructing a huge shipping port in the middle of nowhere. Why has he chosen this unlikely location? And this one is published by Simon & Schuster in 1997. So I probably shouldn't just say Putnam's. I probably should look which one was which. But what am I? Another Simon & Schuster. Clive Cussler, Dragon. Clive Cussler with Dirk Pitt's 1932 Stutes. In Dragon, let's see. From the icy Alaska coast to a tropical paradise in the Pacific, Dragon describes an astonishing and brutal conspiracy aimed at forcing the West into final acceptance of Japan's world leadership. So, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, BookTube.